Dating is a different game for mature women. In their mid-30s, women utilize dating apps in the hopes of finally swiping right on any reliable and fertile man who can serve as their retirement plan, help them reproduce, and eventually assist them in having and raising children. They don't understand how badly burnt older men have been by divorce, child support disputes, celibate marriages, and repeated rejections over the years, learning the lesson not to settle with women who have crossed their mid-30s. How frequently do older women say things like, "I know my value," "I'm searching for a partner to settle down," or "I don't have time for amateur games," or "I want something significant," on dating apps? These are frequently the words of a woman who has worked hard for years to perfect her career or live her best life, and who is now looking for the right man so that she can spend the remainder of her days with someone and not live alone and miserable. Older ladies might have found older men who would marry them in the past, when most women were not out on display on the streets, and because men were ignorant of women and the judicial system. However, when men began to witness their friends and family members being wrongly convicted in family court, and their supposedly loving wives turning on them because they were unhappy and for the love of money, men began to realize the deception of what was happening. Years later, men began to make the decision to go their own way. When you use dating apps today, you will still come across simps giving older women attention and a lot of validation that they don't get from their current or previous husbands. This attention and validation, by the way, is still nowhere near the attention they used to pull in their younger years. When younger women took on the modern woman narrative, they were told that a man would always be there later on in their late 30s or 40s. They were told that it's okay to have fun, mess around with guys, focus on their career, and eventually, the right guy who will do everything for them, as his life's purpose will come to them. Men are scared of divorce. You need to be careful when you're on dating apps, and these older ladies are paying you such much attention because they will divorce you to take your resources since they are not wife material and are only seeking a retirement plan. Why do they regard you as a good choice now that they are older when they used to ignore and trash you in their early years? Yes, gentlemen, they are only attempting to capture you. I recently came across this article that says older women are being left in the wilderness in the online world. It says that women are really worse off on dating sites because men tend to pick women who are younger, and also because older women are in a rush to get into new relationships and commit long term. These women are also less likely to give men a second chance because they're old and have had their experiences growing up and now just want to have a committed relationship. Men, on the other hand, are much more likely to go for women, which, according to this article, is a shame because women in their 40s and 50s are able to give men more pleasure because of their bedroom experience. Okay, gentlemen, as you can now see, younger women are frequently chosen on dating apps instead of ladies in their 40s and 50s. I mean, who didn't see this coming? Dating can be challenging for divorced women in particular, according to data from Match.com, because it can be challenging, stressful, and worrying to look for a second chance at love when children come first. Being a solo mom can be very challenging. When you need a single friend and a babysitter to get out to bars and clubs, it can seem like an older person's game, but not everyone thinks they will find love online. For solitary parents who describe themselves as being alone, alienated, vulnerable, and useless, there is a real sense that the world has become smaller. Men are wary of women hitting the wall. But you know what? Over time, men grew wary, and men are not approaching women who are hitting the wall anymore. And even if they are not committing to them because they know the inside story of these older women. In order to get the guys they really wanted all to themselves, these women made the decision to put secure men on the back foot. However, this didn't work out as planned because casual dating culture as we know it was born as soon as social media and dating apps became widely used, marking the start of the slow demise of dating and relationships. Older women wouldn't be trying to find a man to commit to them on dating apps if there wasn't a hookup culture. And keep in mind who was ultimately responsible for establishing the hookup culture. The future of dating for women and the next generation of women was ruined by none other than women, and not men, as some might want to believe. All because they wanted to date the guys they wanted and have casual fun with men who at that time were looking for commitment. Therefore, I would want to ask these older ladies who contributed to the demise of dating, was it really worth it? The sad thing is that the exact women who contributed to the decline of dating and relationships are still complaining about the lack of good men on dating apps today. And their daughters, who are now in their late 20s to early and mid-30s, are in the same situation, searching for a good man to settle down after failing to follow in their mother's footsteps. Due to how nasty divorce has become, none of those guys are attempting to get married, and no man wants to marry up a lady who has been plowed by dozens of men. Men are no longer prepared to risk their retirement savings for a woman who is only in it for the money and wants to grab all the guy worked so hard to achieve. Men are going their own way. Men don't want a wife or girlfriend who is simply dating them because the other men they loved didn't want her. More and more elderly ladies are beginning to understand that men are no longer idiots, and that they have become accustomed to living without them and being much happier as a result. The elderly women you see on dating apps today are the same women who were supposed to be strong and successful independent women in the past. They're the same women now who whine all the time and radiate negativity across the internet. You guys need to keep in mind that these ladies have had years to try and change their negative habits and perhaps meet a nice man. A lot of these women were once married. However, they believed they could advance on their husbands, so they betrayed them, took their children and money, and then returned to the dating scene with the hope that they would bypass all the other women and land a top-tier man again. Wrong. Men have realized what they needed to know and understand, and these older women now have no choice but to actually settle for someone they won't like. Men prefer younger women. Never feel sorry for any of these women or attempt to save them, because they willingly place themselves in that situation in an effort to obtain a better and bigger deal. But the reality is commonly harsh because all that most of these post-war women received was someone who didn't want to submit to them in the way they wished. When younger women are at their prime and easier to find than ever before, why would men prefer to date an older woman? This is especially true in the current economic climate, when we are on the verge of another recession and things are getting difficult. Guys with money can choose to date young, attractive women rather than a woman who's already hitting the wall. So why would a man spend more money on a lady who is in a poorer physical condition and is seeking an unrealistic commitment? Never feel the slightest pity for any of these ladies. Instead, keep your veins cool and use them just for practice. Women are the ones who brought this on themselves by divorcing their spouses in search of better lives and better vistas. It stinks of desperation when you commit to an older lady who spent decades lending her time and body to other men while ignoring you as a potential choice when you were in your prime. Thus, as I always suggest, be extremely cautious around women in general and older women in particular. They simply want to stop riding the roller coaster and want to settle down, so they want to give you another chance. When they were younger, they had their opportunity with you. Guys will no longer participate in these games since they are aware of their perspectives on relationships and life. There is no doubt that the world is difficult for women in their late 30s and early 40s, but that doesn't mean they should be the only options for men who can do a whole lot better with women in their prime. The point is, dating apps are a no-go for any decent man these days. You tap on that app if you want to join the simp fest. If you do end up on a dating app, be wary of women who want to settle down after they've had their fun with Chad and Tyrone. It's a trap. You've been warned. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.